4 of us in the retirement home played hide and seek for the last piece of banana bread pudding. Frank had been eyeing the bowl on the kitchen counter since lunch, and the rule was, whoever stayed hidden the longest got it. I drew the short straw, leaned against the wall, and started counting to 20, while the others scattered down the hallway as fast as walkers and bad knees would let them. I opened my eyes and started my slow lap of the lounge. Walter was the first one I found, standing perfectly still in the corner with a lampshade pulled down over his head. I tapped the shade. He sighed underneath it and shuffled out behind me without taking it off. I almost walked past Frank twice before I noticed his slippers sticking out from under the curtain by the window. I kept looking and walked right past Harold sitting in a wheelchair by the TV with a blanket over his lap and a magazine open. He waved at me as I passed. I waved back. Halfway down the hall I stopped. I tried to count how many I had left, but couldn't remember if it was 1 or 2, so I figured I'd find out when I ran out. I walked back through the lounge. Walter was still standing in the corner with the lampshade on, like he'd forgotten he could come out. An hour later, maybe 2, I lifted the towels in the laundry cart, and Pat was curled up underneath, wrapped in a sheet like a baby. I gathered everyone in the kitchen for the prize, but the plate on the counter was empty. "Where's the pudding?" The nurse came in with a stack of towels and smiled at us. "You ate it 3 hours ago, sweetheart. All 4 of you split it." I rubbed my forehead. Oh man, my dementia's getting worse. Walter, still wearing the lampshade, tugged my sleeve. "You want to play hide and seek?" "Sure." I leaned against the wall and started counting to 20. My best man shook me awake. "Bro, wake up. Look at your chest." I looked down, and a woman's face I didn't recognize was tattooed across my entire chest. "Who is that? Did I get that tattooed last night when I was drunk during my bachelor's party?" He held up his camera and laughed. "Bro, I was about to ask you that same question. Your wedding is in 24 hours. You might be cooked." I jumped out of bed and threw on a shirt because I knew I had to get it removed before my future wife saw it. We burst into the first tattoo removal clinic we could find, and I ripped my shirt off. The doctor took one look and shook her head. "I can't help you get rid of this." My jaw dropped because I was scared a drunk mistake was about to ruin my wedding. "What do you mean?" "The tattoo is way too big for a laser removal because the laser won't be strong enough to affect it. The only option is a surgery where you cut the skin off." I turned on my phone, ready to text my fiancé about what had happened, but my best man grabbed it. "Dude, maybe there's one more option. Isn't your mom super holistic? Maybe she has some homemade remedy that can help you." I was skeptical, but figured it was worth a shot. We drove straight to my mom's house, and as soon as we came through the door, I ripped my shirt off. "Mom, I need your help. I got a tattoo of another woman last night, and I have no idea who she is, but I need you to help me somehow remove it." When she looked at the tattoo, I expected her to be shocked, but she just nodded and laughed like she expected this. "Honey, I know who that woman is." I was so shocked I didn't even know what to say. "It's your grandmother. Last night you were drunk and you texted your father saying you wanted a tattoo. He thought you were joking and sent you a photo of his mom, but I guess you took it seriously." Micah turned his exam face down and got onto his hands and knees and started circling his desk with a low growl. I had heard rumors about him thinking he was a werewolf, and I didn't believe them, but now I knew they were true. The teacher looked up and said, "Micah, get back in your seat. If you fail this exam, you'll have a 1.0 GPA and you'll be expelled." Micah barked at her, and she put her head in her hands like she'd given up on helping him. I looked around the room, and every single person had the exact same expression. Pencil frozen, mouth slightly open, completely unsure whether to laugh or run. None of us knew what would happen next. He crawled over to the desks around him and started growling at anyone who moved. "Do not make eye contact," one of the kids whispered, and I genuinely could not tell if they were joking. The teacher sent someone to get the principal, and when he walked in, he sighed in a way that showed this was not the first time this had happened. He looked at the teacher. "I know Micah's behavior is annoying, but he probably failed his exam anyway, so he'll be expelled and out of this school soon." He walked out, and when he came back, he had a piece of grilled chicken from the cafeteria in his hand. He crouched down next to Micah. "Here you go, buddy." Micah took the chicken, climbed back into his chair, and started writing while he ate until everyone finished their test. I couldn't understand what had just happened, but after class, it all made sense. Because when I went back to the classroom, I saw he left behind the foil from the chicken on the table. I picked it up and saw tiny handwriting covering the inside. Every answer to the exam was written on the inside. It all clicked. His mom worked in the lunchroom cafeteria, and she'd put the answers to the exam on the chicken foil. The only reason he acted so crazy was because that was the only way he could get the chicken. I never told anyone that I'd figured it out, but when the test scores came back, Micah had the highest result in the school. He graduated that year and told everyone he was going to study zoology. A guy with a microphone and camera crew cornered me and my brother at the mall. "Are you you vegan?" I responded no, while trying to walk away, but they stopped us. "So how do you feel when you ruthlessly kill an animal and its family? Do you feel good about yourself?" I wanted to shove past them, but my brother stopped me, because he just turned 21 and wanted to have some fun trolling them. "I personally feel amazing every time I eat meat." I smirked and stopped because I wanted to see how far he'd take his rage bait. The interviewer's smile tightened. "So, you think it's funny that an innocent creature dies for your dinner?" My brother nodded like he was thinking hard about it. "Honestly, that's the best part. When I think of the animal screaming for help while I eat, it makes me smile knowing the animal died to make my meal better. It adds flavor." Even the cameraman was laughing so hard that he snorted. Meanwhile, the interviewer was so angry that his knuckles went white around the mic. "Okay, well, you may be laughing now, but you should know that vegans live longer than meat eaters. You're literally killing yourself." My brother shrugged. "Good. I'd rather die at 50 eating bacon than live to 90 eating grass like the cow I just ate for lunch." I was laughing so hard I thought my intestine was going to fall out. The interviewer stepped closer. "One last question. If you could kill any animal right now, what would it be?" My brother looked dead at the camera and grinned. "If I could kill any animal, it would be a vegan." For a second, everyone froze. The cameraman wasn't laughing anymore. The interviewer stopped smiling. I had no idea what was going to happen next. The interviewer reached into his jacket, pulled out a gun from his jacket, and shot my brother in the head. My brother collapsed. The interviewer was laughing into the camera. "Relax, bro, it's a prank. It was a blank." The cameraman called 911. I ran to my brother who was bleeding out, and I tore off the sleeve of my jumper to stop the bleeding. "What the hell is wrong with you? This is how animals feel when you hurt them." When the paramedics arrived, they loaded my brother into the ambulance, and one of them looked at me. "He's still got a pulse, but it's barely there." 3 days later, my brother woke up in the hospital. He looked at me. His voice came out cracked and quiet. "Bro, I'll have a steak, medium rare." I accidentally told my crush and the entire class that I liked her during project presentations. I was up first. I grabbed the projector cable, walked to the front of the room, and started plugging it into my Chromebook. Then Mindy walked in, the kind of girl that would have you thinking of flowers and forgetting you were holding a cable. I snapped out of it, pulled up my project, and cleared my throat. After yapping for 15 minutes, I finally made it through. Mr. Milton nodded, and the whole class clapped, except Mindy. She had her head resting on her desk. I walked back to my seat and sat down. Mr. Milton said we could do whatever we wanted for the rest of the class period. As soon as he said that, someone popped a bag of chips open and kicked his feet up onto his desk. I focused back on my Chromebook and opened a new tab. I typed, "I have a crush on a girl named Mindy. How can I tell if she likes me back?" The words went up on the wall in huge black letters. I'd never disconnected from the projector. I slammed the Chromebook shut. The words stayed. Derek, who sat 2 seats over, looked up. "You." He cupped his hands. "Yo, everybody look at the screen." I opened the laptop again. The screen was frozen on what I typed. I clicked the X on the tab and the wall didn't change. I clicked it again. Nothing. The chip bag stopped crinkling. Chairs turned toward me. I dropped down, grabbed the cord with both hands, and pulled. It didn't move. Derek raised his voice. "Mr. Milton." He pointed at the wall. "Mr. Milton, look at the board." The room cracked up around me. Someone said, "No way." A chair scraped back. Mr. Milton stood up, looked at the screen, walked over, and pulled the cable out of the wall. The screen went blue. He held the cable and said, "Textbooks, page 204. I put my head down, wishing to make it all go away. Then I heard one single quiet laugh from behind me. I turned around and saw Mindy smiling. She saw me looking and winked at me, then went back to her textbook. I had my head on my desk watching the clock with 30 minutes left in the math test when I started tapping my pencil. Mrs. Castellan's head snapped up. She ran across the room and slammed her hand on my desk. "What do you think you're doing?" I was bored. "I'll stop if it bothers you." She grabbed Felix's test off his desk and crumpled it in her fist. Felix jumped to his feet. "I wasn't finished. I'm not stupid. You two have been cheating all year." She grabbed each of us by an elbow and dragged us out into the hallway. She got on her walkie-talkie and called for security. 2 guards in polo shirts caught up to us with kids watching from every doorway. Felix and I kept telling them we didn't cheat, but they wouldn't even look at us. They walked us to Principal Marlowe's office and sat us in chairs that were too small for us. Mrs. Castellan marched up to his whiteboard, uncapped a marker, and started drawing tap patterns. 3 short taps means add. 2 long taps means subtract. 5 quick taps means 12. I cracked his whole code. Felix raised his hand from his too small chair. "Sir, none of the answers are 12. Principal Marlowe flipped through the test packet. "He's right. That isn't a code. He was just tapping his pencil." Felix shrugged. "I'm just smart, sir." Mrs. Castellan's mouth opened and closed while Principal Marlowe uncapped his pen. "Written warning. Week suspension. I'll be calling their parents to apologize for you." Walking back to class, Felix elbowed me. "Dude, that was close. She almost had it. 5 quick taps means 10, not 12. I smiled. "Yeah, who would have thought we almost got caught?" We walked back into class laughing. My girlfriend turned to me on the couch with this little smile and asked if I wanted to see something funny. We were halfway through some Netflix show I wasn't even watching because she had her head on my chest and the blanket pulled up to our shoulders. I said sure, thinking it'd be a TikTok or something. Her smile changed. She yanked the blanket up over both our heads in one motion and pulled it tight around my face. face. I started laughing too because I thought she was being cute. That's when she farted. The longest, loudest fart I've ever felt vibrated through the cushion under us. She screamed, "Dutch oven," in a voice I had never heard come out of her body. I tried to throw the blanket off, but her hands locked it under my chin. She started laughing, and it wasn't her laugh. It was lower and wrong, like something had crawled inside her. The smell hit me 3 seconds later, and my eyes started watering. I was kicking and screaming, "Get off!" But she'd thrown her whole body on top of the blanket, pinning it to the couch. "Stay in the oven, baby!" Another fart ripped out of her, and she howled. Every time my hand found the edge, she yanked it tighter. I finally tore through and crashed onto the carpet, gasping like I'd been underwater. She was sprawled on the couch, shaking with laughter, mascara running, hair everywhere. She caught her breath, and that little smile came back. "Wanna see something else that's funny?" I ran out the front door before she finished the sentence. I jolted awake in 5th period with a full bladder and immediately raised my hand to ask for the bathroom. Mrs. Riley stopped mid-sentence and her whole face lit up. "Drew, yes, finally!" My hand was still in the air and I realized she thought I was answering her question. I had no idea what the question was. She turned to the whiteboard and tapped it twice with her marker. "Class, Drew is going to tell us the answer." 30 heads turned at once. I felt my chest cave in and my bladder somehow get worse at the same time. I scanned the board for any hint of what she'd been talking about, and the only word I caught was stomach in green marker. I cleared my throat. "The stomach?" My voice cracked upward into a question. She clapped her hands together so loud the kid next to me flinched. "Yes, Drew, yes." I started lowering my hand because I'd somehow gotten away with it and I needed to pee so bad I was about to cry. "Now explain to the class why the stomach is so important to digestion." My hand froze halfway down. I shifted my weight in the chair and crossed my legs under the desk. I'd seen a Mountain Dew commercial that mentioned acid one time. "Because of the acid?" Mrs. Riley gasped and put her hand over her heart. "Drew Vance, I am so impressed." I was sweating through my shirt and I could feel it on my back. I just needed her to let me leave. She turned back to the class with both arms out. "Drew is presenting this at Friday's health assembly." I forgot how to swallow. Mateo in the back row stood up out of his seat. "Let's go, Drew!" The whole class started clapping. I nodded because I couldn't form words. I raised my hand again, this time actually waving it. She turned back to me with the biggest smile I'd ever seen on a teacher's face. "Go on, sweetheart. Go celebrate. You've earned it." Friday morning, I stood at a podium in front of the entire school and gave a 6-minute presentation on the digestive system. I'd never raised my hand to answer a question in my life. I just had to pee. My wife came home from her nightly walk and smelled extremely strange. "What is that smell? Where were you?" She shrugged. "I don't know what you're talking about," and walked past me to go to sleep. I wasn't sure if she was hiding something from me, but then she did it again the next night, and the next night. After a month of this, I knew I had to find out what was going on. So one night after her walk, I checked her jacket for clues. There were hairs stuck to the sleeves that weren't mine. In the right pocket, I found the receipt to a baby clothing store. In her left pocket, I found the key to the storage building in our backyard. Did she have a baby with another man? The next night, I waited at the window. She walked straight to the storage building and locked the door behind her. I crossed the yard in my socks. I stopped outside the door and eavesdropped on what she was saying. I could hear her whispering softly, "You're the best part of my day. I love you so much." I threw the door open hard enough that it bounced off the wall. I expected to catch her kissing another man, but instead, I caught her sitting cross-legged on the floor, with a mini pig wearing a sweater in her lap, eating a carrot out of her hand. She looked up at me like she was extremely scared of what my reaction would be. "His name is Gerard." I stared at Gerard, and we locked eyes. "I know you hate animals, but I found him in the back garden. A fox was about to eat him." She had tears in her eyes like the memory was making her emotional. "So can he come home?" I looked at how happy my wife was and sighed. "Fine, but only if we can have him for breakfast." She shot me an angry look, and I laughed. "I'm kidding. Gerard's part of the family. Everyone in prison knew Kane was the plug. He didn't even try to hide it. The guards would shake him down for just walking past, and whenever they caught inmates with something, they'd instantly search him. But every time they did, they never caught him with anything. Guards would storm his cell, flip his mattress, rip out the vents, and he just laughed at them every time. One time someone said he was stashing it in another inmate's bunk, so they tore apart every cell. Still, they found nothing. They had literally no idea what to do. Every time they caught someone with something, they'd say, "I got it from Kane." Our warden was furious until he figured it out. Over the holiday weekend, his son's birthday magic kit came with a hollow soap bar, and it hit him. It immediately clicked. The first day back, he showed up to morning roll call early. The second Kane stepped into line, the warden said, "Hand over your soap bar." Kane's eyes went wide, and the warden stood there. He knew he had him. Now, Kane had no choice, and pulled it out. The warden was literally shaking with excitement, and the second he twisted it open, his face lit up. He was right. The soap had a hidden compartment inside. He knew he had him, but when he looked closer, he was confused. It was completely empty, and Kane was laughing his ass off. "What is this? Where is it?" And Kane thought it was so funny, he could barely get it out. "Sorry, boss. The morning delivery already went out. You're a few hours too late." I was eating Doritos on the couch playing Minecraft when my chest started pounding in the Ender Dragon fight. I figured it was just nerves from the boss fight, smacked my chest twice, and kept clicking my mouse. My left arm started twitching, but I shook it out and kept clicking. The pounding got sharper and faster. Pain shot down my left arm, and I knew it wasn't nerves anymore. But I had never gotten this far against the Ender Dragon. I wasn't getting up for anything. My vision started darkening at the edges, so I leaned closer to the screen and kept firing arrows. Molly walked in from the kitchen with a spatula in her hand, saw me, and stumbled backwards. "Babe, why is your face gray?" 5 more minutes. In the dragon fight, she came around the couch, saw the screen, then saw my left arm hanging off the cushion. "Why isn't your arm moving?" "I got this." She pulled out her phone, and my Apple Watch started screaming a heart attack alert on the coffee table. "He's having a heart attack. Send someone right now." She was sobbing into 911. The dragon was at half a heart. The sirens started outside before she even hung up. My left side was completely dead. Just my right hand on the mouse. My eyes locked on the dragon. My vision tunneled down to just the screen. I clicked. The dragon roared and exploded into purple light. Achievement unlocked. Free the end. I slid off the couch onto the carpet. Doritos crumbs all over my chest. "Babe." Molly was kneeling next to me, screaming for the paramedics to hurry. I reached for her hand. I won. My life is complete. I woke up to a slap. Molly was standing over my hospital bed with mascara streaks down her face. "You absolute dummy," I croaked. "Babe, did we really win?" "We?" She slapped me again. Halfway through my shift, someone burst through the front doors of the phone store, and a very large woman walked in. "I need a new iPhone. My old one stopped working out of nowhere." She slammed on the counter, and when I looked at it, it was very obvious she had dropped it, or maybe even sat on it. I sighed, saying, "Ma'am, you don't have a warranty. We can't give you one for free." And when I said that, she completely exploded. She immediately started screaming insults, calling me an idiot, and demanded I go get my manager. And as soon as he came out from the back, I saw his eyes go wide. She instantly started screaming at him. "You people won't give me one just because I'm white. My phone worked perfectly fine until it broke out of nowhere. You owe me a new one." He tried to calm her down and whispered to go grab her a new phone. I sighed and grabbed it. While I set it up for her, she kept insulting me. "You're worthless. That's why you're just working a low-life job." I tried to ignore her and just gave her the phone. "Would you like to purchase a warranty, ma'am?" She grabbed it and yelled, "No, you're not scamming me anymore." She stormed out, and I knew I was quitting. I walked over to my manager, but just before I told him, we both froze. The woman took one step outside the store when she tripped, and we watched her giant body fall and completely crush her brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max. She grabbed it, and it fell apart. She instantly ran back inside, screaming at me to get her a new one. I just looked at her. Should have got the warranty.